Okay. Thank you, Paula, and thank you, Elizabeth. I will invite you to eventually continue the discussion or in chat, but also, especially in our Discord channel. I will share again the link to the Discord space in which we can continue, and I invite you to foster a discussion about that. And with that, we start the first track of our Climate Social Forum, the first P, that I think is the one of the most important, but the starting one, we can say, that's about people. And with that, I will give the floor to the keynote of our people track. You already hear about him with the question. It's Erick Brennes. Brief introduction of Erick. He is a BA in Finance from the American International University and Master in International Management from the Otaru University of Commerce in Japan. And he also performed doctoral studies on sustainability in Italy and Mexico. He's founder of the Mesoamerican Knowledge Laboratory and associate researcher at CHIRPS in Rome. Is scientific advisor of university and local governments and all kinds of organizations. And also we soon publish a very, very interesting book, I think, that's the colonization of political economy. So thank you very much, Erick, for being here. I'm amazed that you are here, so happy that you are here, because I think that you will hear something that you never hear so frequently. So Erick, the floor to you.
Wow, Domenico, you create a lot of expectation. Well, no, thank you very much, everyone. And I'm very happy to be here. And I also want to excuse with the organization because the last 2 or 3 weeks I've having a lot of work, and I'm not answering emails as fast as I wish. But here I am. I did not prepare any PowerPoint because I want to talk first of all from my heart and then from my experience. I want to talk about the work we've been doing here in Latin America, especially with indigenous people, about their empirical knowledge. As you might know, this has a very strong theoretical framework that we are still trying to understand how to turn it into a methodological framework. I'm very impressed by the presentation of Dr. Paola Fiore, because right now I'm advising United Nations here in Costa Rica on how to implement the fund, the SDG, the Sustainable Development Fund here in Costa Rica. So I'm very well aware, aware and work almost every day with all of the SDG goals. Mainly, we are creating innovative financial instruments for the goals 4 and 5 on education. Costa Rica have very interesting challenges on education. So I think I see myself as part of both worlds. I work most of my framework, my theoretical framework of my PhD thesis is decolonization. I don't know if some of you might know the theory or not. There are 2 decolonization theories. One that was born in India after the UK dominance in England, in India, and then also the Latin American theory. That's the one I know very well, and I've participated on several conferences on that. But I also use systemic perspective and complexity theory to analyze the whole sustainability issue. So for us, when I say for us, is a lot of indigenous people I have worked with. We might answer Dr. Paola Fiore's question: what is sustainability? So I'm not sure of what is sustainability, but I'm telling you, I can tell you for sure what is not sustainability. And some people, some indigenous communities still perceive the sustainability theory as another Western style theoretical way of thinking. And from my perspective, is an econocentric way of thinking, you know, and also one that is very naive, one that believing that arranging the economic problem will automatically arrange all others, you know. So the problem is way more complex than that. And I have a special presentation to demonstrate this, because when you talk about sustainability in the Western style perspective, you have to think about what politics we have, what instruments we have, what institutions we have. We at least in Costa Rica, we don't have any institution directly related with sustainability in a Western style perspective, you know, and this is very complicated. We are right now trying to solve how, who is responsible for SDG 4 and 5, which we are talking about mainly education, in the Costa Rican government. So it's not that not anyone is responsible. It's so many organizations should be or could be related, that this complicates things a lot, especially when we think about financing it. But this is from the instrumental point of view. Then you have all the, you know, from the territorial point of view, what is sustainability from the global perspective? And in my opinion, what we are doing on carbon decarbonizing the economy is a wonderful effort at a global level. But at a local level and regional or local level, we have incredible other really heavy, incredibly environmental problems that are not being addressed at a global level, and not even at the regional or local level. And I give very often an example. We in Latin America, we have for the last 20 years that I've been working with sustainable development all over Latin America, we have a crisis that bursts in our face every day, and we are not addressing it. And it's the crisis of the waste. The waste is a real problem in Latin America. Maybe 2 or 3, some of you might not have it, but might not know it, but 2 or 3 years ago, we even had international problem between Honduras and Guatemala, because the rivers of Guatemala, they don't know, you know, those rivers don't know they are Guatemalan. They bring a lot of plastic and trash to pristine beaches in Honduras that and their communities depend on tourism. So you can have an idea of the problem, the economical problem that this become, you know, and this became a social unrest between both countries, and nearly become an international conflict because of the trash. And we are not doing anything at a local level. So when you start questioning what is sustainable from the local level, then you encounter a very interesting perspective, completely different, which is the indigenous people. You know, I've worked with indigenous people in mainly the countries that I work the most with indigenous people is Ecuador, Colombia, Costa Rica, and Guatemala. And especially in Ecuador and Colombia, they have a very interesting perspective, very decolonized. And for me was very shocking, because it's so different. It questions your very basic of knowledge, you know. Why? Because from the Western perspective, every time we had a problem, we turn our eyes to the solutions that we think is the most viable one, and those solutions comes from science. So I think it is about times that we start questioning what we consider science, you know. When start considering empirical science in the hands of other peoples. And one of the most important example we have in our everyday life is Oriental science, Oriental medicine. Oriental medicine was not considered as a medicine for a long time. And this is, we are talking about 3,000 or 5,000 years of empirical knowledge. So I think it's very critical, it's very arrogant from us to dismiss or not consider all empirical science, because they've been doing trials and error for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5,000 years. So it's very important to consider. And just to make a close up, I don't want to be misunderstood. In Latin America, I'm very often misunderstood as an, I don't know how to translate this in English, but I'm considered as indigenous, as as a person who think that the solutions are in the hands of indigenous people, as a indigenous philic, someone that love indigenous, and this is not the case. I am not considering that Western style science is all wrong. On the contrary, we have advanced a lot, but in my opinion, it's exhausted. The sustainable framework, especially the theoretical framework for sustainability, must be broadened, and must be considered the implementation at local levels. The knowledge at local levels cannot be ignored and cannot be imposed global visions. That's more or less my message. I hope I didn't take more than 10 minutes I had. And I'm also open for questions and suggestions. And I put my email on the chat, just in case anyone wants to read about them. Very interesting report we just made on how indigenous people use bio indicators to try to read and understand the climate. Thank you very much to everyone.
Thank you to you, Eric, for your speech, and also for pointing the relationship also between the indigenous knowledge and also our sometimes roles as, we can say, industrialized or productivistic society. And I'll take the chance. Yes, we have time for question to Eric. So if you want to ask something to Eric, let's take the chance. I see some question, I guess. Okay.
I think I confuse everyone.
Thank you, Devanshu. If you want to also open the mic, if you want to also share some thoughts, not only question, comments. Don't be shy. Okay.
Yeah, the session was really nice. For like, you just share very insightful information about how we can contribute in the SDGs and what are the challenges we are facing. It was really nice. But according to you, like, how we can just make life more like, how we can improve the life of indigenous people, according to you, how it can be done without just harming or doing something related to their culture or anything, how we can make their life more uh, relevant like we are living right now?
Oh, that's a very good question, because at the end, the answer to a lot of the questions we have right now are political answer. And I have learned that the situation from indigenous people in different countries in Latin America is very harsh. And when they regain political independence again over their territory, their situation starts changing. Just, you know, in the book I'm writing, I made a kind of a review of what the independent meant in the Latin American region. You know, when the Spanish people in the territory scream independent from Spain, you know, what they meant is that I want to make a trade with everyone I want. I want to make trade with the French. I want to make trade with the English. I want to make trade with the Netherlandish. and the Black people and the indigenous people supported these independent scream, you know. But for the indigenous people, they were looking for, you know, let me manage my territory as I have been managing for the last 2,000 or 3,000 years, you know. And I don't know if you need an explanation what it meant to be free to a Black people in the independent period in Latin America. So I think one of the most important decisions we can do is support the indigenous people on how to self-manage themselves, and not impose any institution or logical, either from the national government or least of all from the global ideas. That's what I don't think in the short term this will change a lot of things, but in the long term, this will help them to thrive, to survive on time, because right now the system is very violent against them from the conceptual and from the practical point of view. And thank you very much for your question.
Thank you. Thank you, Erick. If there are other questions,